Well, good morning and welcome to the show. I'm Doc Carbo with Keller Williams Realty. By now you should know the slogan, if you want opportunity to knock, talk to Doc. And I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Regina Pickle Lewis.
There you go.
She's just always Regina Pickle to me. Actually, she's just Regina to me.
Just Regina.
Yeah. And so we are happy to be here this morning. We got a couple guests coming in. We're going to have our first guest will be Daryl Whitaker, and he's from Home Mortgage Solutions, and he's going to talk to us about loans and buying a house. And as always, the government is always changing what happens with loans, and it's usually not to the client or the person getting the loan's best interest. So he's going to tell us the latest thing that they've done to us, and explain that to us in detail. And then our second guest is going to be a young man by the name of Preston West, and he works on computers, and he's with Keystone Solutions, and I work on a program called XP, Windows XP, and it's going to be obsolete. So I am not a technical person. Are you a techie person?
No, but I'm married to one.
Well, that's good.
That's what he does for a living.
That's great. Well, I'm not, and so my XP program is going to be gone at the end of this year, and so I'm going to have to get a new computer and new software, new program, and all of that stuff for my real estate business. And I ate lunch with him last week and said, we need to start now because I have to do baby steps in order to understand where I'm going. So Preston's going to come in and talk to us about where we need to head for those of us that are technically
When is this going to
challenged.
happen?
Well, at the end of this year, that program will be completely gone. And of course, technology is always changing. And so what is good today may not be here 3-6 months from now. So he's going to talk to us about those things. So that's kind of where we're headed. So that will be our show for today. And I'm excited because next month, you know where we're going next month?
To the alpaca farm.
Yes, we are very excited about this. This is one of our favorite shows that we get to do, and we are actually going to go out there and they are going to shear them. So they're going to be all nice, big, fluffy, woolly alpacas, and Regina are going to be out there and they're going to shave them, and we get to go watch that process and film it and talk about what happens with all of that.
All those wonderful clothes that we modeled.
Yeah, so
a few months ago.
That's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that. And they told me it takes 7 minutes to shave an alpaca. So we'll go find out, and you'll be coming along with us, and we'll check that one out.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we need to go visit the House of the Month. So Joe, if you've got that in there, and we can switch to those pictures in a moment here, we'll do that. But the House of the Month this time is up in Bentley Park. And that's one of our gated communities on the north end of town. And it's a beautiful area, lots of majestic, large homes up in that area. And the one thing I like about that subdivision, the first time I went up there were 3 deer just bounding across the road. So very, very pretty. So if you like the wildlife, there you go. This is the home. It's on a road called Cromwell Circle, and as you can see, it's very majestic and palatial looking. This is 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It's got a wrought iron fence around it. This is the foyer and the entrance. On the left there, you've got an office. To the right is your dining room, and it's got marble floors. It's got wooden floors, ceramic tile, and it's of course got all the appliances, as you can see there. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got stainless steel appliances in the middle there in the island. That is a 6-burner stovetop right there, and it's gas. So those people that like to cook with the gas, there it is. So this is in the master bedroom, and of course you can see the double sinks, and again the tiling throughout. And he has a steam shower in this particular master bedroom. So if you like that nice, in cold season, if you like that steam shower, this is the place to be. This is the master bedroom with the bay window, and it looks out over the hillside. This particular house actually stands kind of off by itself, so there's no one around you. It's the first house to the right when you go up the hillside, and so you're to yourself, no neighbors around you. This is a beautiful dining room area. And one of the things I really like about the house is that each bedroom has its own unique feature. Like right here, this is the little girl's bedroom, and it has its own little stage. So she has her little play area up there with her Barbies and her little palaces, and so she has her own area. One of the other bedrooms has sort of a dome ceiling in it, and so each room has its own unique feature. And I put this in here just so you can see how the definitions and the lines in the house are all unique and different. Yeah, it's just a unique type of house. So it's priced at $424,900. And in Bentley Park, actually, this is the least expensive home in Bentley Park. There's also a homeowners association. It's $125 a month. But what they have up there is tennis courts, and they also have a clubhouse. And so you can use the clubhouse for your family parties or youth parties.
Several times.
Yeah, so you can use that and use the kitchen, use the facilities and everything. So
great little park there too.
Yes.
In the middle. Beautiful little park.
And if you like to walk up and down hills, this is a great way to get some wonderful exercise. So just something to keep in mind. So if you know of someone who's moving into the area and would like to live in a community like this, why, all they have to do is get in touch with me at Doc Carbaugh at Keller Williams. And the slogan is, if you want opportunity to knock, you talk to Doc. All right, well, you know, last time we did a little bit in talking about sayings and where they came from, and I kind of enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went back on the internet and I found a few more, and I thought we'd talk about a few more of those. So have you heard this expression, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater? You heard that expression?
No.
Oh, I have.
I've never heard it.
I've heard that one. And I thought, where did that come from? And here's where it came from. Back in the day, before you had running water, it was standard procedure that the order of the household was the father took the bath first, then the mother, and then the children, and then the last person to take a bath was the baby. And usually by that time, since there's no running water and you couldn't change the water was not really clean. And so sometimes people would sort of lose the baby in the dirty water, and sometimes they'd toss out the bath water and the baby would be in there. And thus the expression came about, don't throw out the baby with the bath water.
Wow.
Now, I said that happens when pre-running water days, but actually before I moved to Tennessee, I was up in North Dakota, and I was out on this big ranch with some students. And they did the same thing because they had their water up in a tower. And they said, yeah, we fill up the tub with water, so you all figure out the order in which you want to take the baths, and you'll all share the same water. And I thought, ew. So I told my students, I said, I'm seniority here. I'm going first because I am not getting in the same bath water after all you girls. And so there were 5 of them. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where that expression came from. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So there you go.
Wow.
Okay, you've heard the expression, it's raining cats and dogs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that a million times. Did it today.
Yeah. Well, it's not really raining cats and dogs. But, again, back in the day, in the 1600s, there was really bad drainage systems on the houses, okay? And so the gutters would get all clogged up, and instead of really being able to let the water flow, when the animals would go across the roofs and stuff like that, especially cats, they get caught up in the gutters. So what would end up flying out of these big fat drains would be cats. And sometimes dogs if they got up on the roof. So
never knew that.
Yeah, so when it's raining cats and dogs, it wasn't really coming out of the sky. It was coming out of the gutters.
I never knew that.
So that's where the expression raining cats and dogs. How about that? All right. You've heard the expression, that was a double cross.
I've heard that.
Okay. Well, again, this goes back to the days when not everybody could read. And you would hear the expression that if people had to sign a document, they would just sign it with an X, right? And that was supposed to be good. That was supposed to be their signature, right? Well, if someone wanted to be sneaky and underhanded, and they would pretend like they really wanted to sign the document, but they didn't want to go through with it, they would sign another X. So the second X would nullify or cross out the first X. And so they would do what was called a double cross, meaning that
they got double cross.
Yeah, they actually nullified the document. Right. So you thought they signed it, but they didn't. So like if someone came to me and wanted to buy a house and they signed it with an X and I wasn't paying attention and I thought I sold them the house, but they had double X'd it, they just had gotten me. They didn't buy the house. So that's where the expression, a double cross, came from. How about that? All right, here's another one. You heard the expression, I'm over a barrel?
I have.
Okay, that has to do with punishment back in the days, colonial times, when people were needing to be punished for bad behavior, maybe public intoxication or something like that. So they'd put the barrel on its side and they'd put the person who had misbehaved over the barrel, okay, and they would tie them over it and then they would whip them while they were laying over that barrel. And so that's where the expression came.
They would whip them?
Yeah. So they'd be over the barrel and they'd be getting their lashes while they were hanging out over the barrel. And so that's where the expression comes from, that, you know, when you were over a barrel, you were in such a position that you couldn't move, that you were going to get a whipping. So that's where that expression came from. How about that?
Should have known that years ago.
Yeah.
Might have used it.
Okay. You heard the expression, well, he just thinks he's a bigwig? Okay.
Used it.
Yeah. Well, if you ever seen the pictures, and in Britain they still do this, where back in the old days they all wore wigs. Okay?
Curly wigs.
Yeah, those
And
big
little
curly
curls.
wigs. Well, British citizens, you know, the lawyers and the members of the court all wore wigs. And of course, the more high up and astute you were, the bigger the wig was. And of course, you couldn't really wash your wigs. You would just powder them and then put them back on. So anybody who had a sense of authority about them back in those days wore a big wig. And so we use that expression today, yo, you think you're a bigwig. And it comes from that expression of back in the old days where court officials wore big wigs, and the bigger the wig, the more important you were.
So big wig, W-I-G. I always thought it was W-H-I-G.
So it's a big wig.
Big wig.
And if you look at in England now, even their court officials still wear their big wigs. How about that? Okay. Now here's one, I really did not know this. You feel like a fifth wheel. You heard that expression?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now I did not know this, but it says a long time ago, there was a device on a car that was a horizontal wheel. And it was attached to the front axle. So the wheels that go this way, but there was a fifth wheel that went this way. And it said that they really made it so when cars were originally made and they had to make a really sharp turn, that fifth wheel was there, supposedly, to help with the turn. Well, they found out that that fifth wheel was useless.
So when you're the fifth wheel, you are the extra person not needed.
Yeah, and you're pretty much useless. And that's where the expression came from. You're just a fifth wheel. There you go. All right, let's do one more. You heard the expression, that's just a bunch of poppycock? You have not heard this one?
I've never heard that one.
Oh, I've heard this one.
Heard the word poppycock. I've never heard
Okay.
it used.
Poppycock was a term that was given back in the days, in the 1850s, by a writer, and this was really good for today, because he was tired of politicians, and the fact that politicians didn't tell the truth. So imagine that. And so every time politicians would talk, and they wouldn't tell the truth, or he thought what they said was worthless and stupid, he would call it poppycock, because poppycock back in that day meant barnyard excrement or chicken poop.
Oh.
So I got to think about that, and I thought,
Poppycock, chicken poop.
yeah, I thought, you know what, today I think politicians are the same thing. We shouldn't say it's poppycock, it's just plain chicken poop. What do you think?
I like that.
I do too. So,
Chicken poop.
Yeah. So we're just being fed a bunch of chicken poop most of the time. Don't you think so?
Dog poop, cat poop.
Yeah, any kind of poop that's out there, we get fed.
We get it.
We get fed the poop. That's what I think. All right, let's do one more. Face the music. You heard that expression? You just got to face the music. And again, this is true. It says when soldiers back in military times, back in the Revolutionary War and Civil War days, when a soldier was to be discharged dishonorably, that he had to walk through the line of soldiers while music was playing. And he was forced to walk through this line and to hold his head up high and he had to face the music and his soldiers while he was being discharged dishonorably and, you know, not fall apart. And that is what it means to face the music. So when you're going through a tough time, you gotta
Face the music.
face the music and just pick it up and move forward. So that's what it means to face the music. So that's where some of the expressions
Interesting,
came
yeah.
from. My favorite one is poppycock, though. Chicken
Yeah.
poop.
We do something like this in my class when I used to teach.
Mm-hmm.
We would take Poor Richard's Almanac, and we would get
Yep.
a lot of those sayings, and my kids would be amazed
Oh, yeah.
at when we would talk about what they might mean. Well, I didn't know that. I've always heard that saying, like an apple a day keeps doctors away. And they didn't realize that it came from years and
Oh, yeah.
years and years ago.
It's interesting, isn't
And there
it?
was really a meaning behind it.
Yeah, there really is. So now hopefully you've learned a few meanings
Yeah.
behind some expressions, and you'll know what they mean from here on out. So good. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll be back with our first guest, Daryl Whitaker from Home Mortgage Solutions. And we'll talk about mortgages and what you need to do if you're thinking about buying a home or even refinancing your home at this point in time. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Awesome.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you looking for a way to save 50 to 90% off your children's spring or summer wardrobe? Well, this is the week. Check out the Ashley Lauren Consignment event this week only, located at 4000 Keith Street next door to Chick-fil-A and Logan's. Ashley Lauren's Closet is the largest and premier children's consignment event. You don't want to miss it. 4000 Keith Street right here in Cleveland.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show. We are here with our first guest. This is Daryl Whitaker of Home Mortgage Solutions. Hi, Daryl.
Hey.
Hey, we are glad you are here, and I wanted to bring him on because I don't know if you've heard, but as of April 1st, there were some changes made to the FHA loan, and so we want to let people know about that. And of course, there are tons of loans out there, and we could talk forever about those, but there is this thing called PMI insurance and the FHA loan. So why don't you tell them a little bit about the change with that, and then we'll kind of go from there.
The change with PMI is actually involving 30-year mortgages and 15-year mortgages where they're increasing the cost. FHA has gotten down the reserve to the point to where they don't have what is required by law to actually be in the reserve for delinquent mortgages that they have to foreclose on. So they've, in the last year, or actually year and a half, it's almost doubled your cost in just private mortgage insurance on an FHA loan, and it's going up to where it would roughly affect a borrower about $10 a month on a normal size mortgage. The other kicker that comes into effect on June 1st, which is a little bit of a more of a concern, is that in the past when you got to 78% of the value of your home,
Right.
and you had that loan for 5 years, at least 5 years, you could get rid of the mortgage insurance. Well, FHA is going back a little bit to the days of several years ago, to where that will not drop off. On a 30-year mortgage, it will never drop off. That payment will be there the whole 30 years unless you refinance it into a different type of loan. The 15-year mortgage, which you can actually develop your equity quicker on a 15-year mortgage, and by developing it quicker, you could get to, after 5, maybe 7 or 8 years, have it dropped off. It has to be there now a minimum of 11 years of the 15 years before you can drop it off.
Goodness.
FHA is still a good product that some borrowers need because they're more aggressive in the financing. So it's still a good vehicle to home ownership. However, what we're seeing now in the market is conforming loans are coming back, and sometimes, depending on your credit, you can actually get into a home on those with only 3% down. So what we try to do at Home Mortgage Solutions is actually look at the different programs that are available that a borrower qualifies for, and then put them in the right program, not just the one that they may ask for that will actually cost them more money in the long run.
Those that already have an FHA loan and are paying PMI, but are almost to the point of getting that paid down, will it affect them, or will it just affect the new buyers?
It will just affect new buyers as far as
Okay.
this law. Now, if you had a mortgage that actually was originated or actually started before May of 2009, you could qualify for what they call an FHA Streamline, which is more of on a refinance, that would actually give you the lower PMI like you had to begin with. So they do have that for borrowers to help them in that way. But as far as a new home purchaser, these laws will affect them at this point.
So,
But not the ones that already have it.
Correct. They can't
Yeah.
change your terms that you already have.
so if it's going to affect them, you said what, maybe $10 a month, or?
$10 or $11 on a 30-year, because
Okay, so for a year, that's $120 a year, and then that's going to be times the 30 years.
But like you said, the kicker, you can't
You can never get rid
you
of
get
it,
down to the 78%, which
Yeah.
is
which most people look forward to getting down. And you would always hear people saying, I want to put this much down so I don't have to pay the PMI. So that is one glitch.
it's one glitch that's made it a lot different, and the deadline on that was April 1st. The
Right.
deadline on it staying with you where you can't get it to drop is June 1st. So if someone's thinking about actually purchasing a home soon, if they're going to go the FHA route, it's time to actually move, because if you do that before June 1st, you can get that to actually drop off.
So you still got a window where they can get it off.
Correct.
Okay,
Till June 1st of this year.
right, which is not much time but that means writing the contract, not closing, writing the contract before June 1st.
Getting your application for your loan actually submitted to the lender before that date, and getting a
Okay.
case number from FHA.
Okay, so that helps a little bit, yeah. Okay, so now, where are interest rates right now for most loans? Are they still in the 3s?
Yes, I mean, what you're looking at, and rates always can come in play as far as what your credit is and everything. 15-year rates are actually below 3. They're
They are.
actually 2.75 and 2.875 for
Wow.
borrowers with good credit scores. And your 30-year loan, FHA, and that's where you've got to look at what loan product is best for you. FHA rates are 3.25 that I looked at today on 30-year loans.
3.25.
So you do have you have to look at how much the rate with the insurance is costing you in payment, but you could go with a conforming loan, and a lot of times, sometimes they have some little hits on it depending on score. So even if the mortgage insurance is a little cheaper and less expensive, the rate may be like 3.5, 3.625 on a conforming loan. That's where, again, we're going to look and give you those options and to look at what's really best for you. One of the best products that are out there right now is the rural development loan, which I'm sure you're
Right.
familiar with. You do have to buy a home in a rural development area, and you don't buy a home just because it's in a certain area, but if you find a home in that area and qualify for it, the rates on those are very similar to FHA, and so are VA, 3 1/4, and both of those can be 100% finance loans.
Right.
Where you don't have to have any money down and you get a very good rate. And the rural development loan, its mortgage insurance is, you're looking at about a quarter or 25% of the same amount on a FHA loan. So if your mortgage insurance on FHA was $100 a month, on a rural development loan, it could be as little as $25 a month. So you get a good rate, low mortgage insurance, and of course VA loans do not have mortgage insurance on them. So
Right.
you can get those and not have to worry about whether it drops or not.
Now, do all of the loans, because I know the rural development loan is based on income, you know, are all of the loans based on how much income you have?
Right. All the loans back several years ago, it was a different story, but now you do have to verify income. Now, one thing that I think we're going to see in the next year or two, you're going to see more private money starting getting into the lending market, and you may see, I don't think you're going to see the days that we saw that caused the housing collapse, but I do think we're going to see private money, and when it makes sense, using common sense, making loans for with alternate type of income documentation. We're not quite there yet on a broad scale to where that's happening, but I'm starting to hear and see where there's private money lenders getting back, which I think also, whether it's FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all the government agencies that are either sponsored or are actually government loans are actually encouraging that, but I think it'll have a lot more control in doing those things when they actually make sense.
Won't get us back into trouble again, will it?
I hear some things where, according to what the government's wanting to do in
Yes,
those,
I
that it
heard
might
that the
get
other
us
day
in
too, and I
trouble.
was like, oh no.
But the actual, but they were pushing the banks and lenders to do it. If private money is getting involved, I think they're going to
True.
control their own risk and do it when it actually makes sense, not just to anyone walking and breathing. So.
Yeah, those days were scary. One question I had, you know, you look at the 15-year loan and you look at a 30-year loan, and you know the rate on a 15-year loan is a lot lower.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better for people to look at a 15-year loan, or does that make their payment so much higher that they really can't do it? I mean, how does that 15 and that 30-year compare? You know, when you're looking at a 15 that's 2-something and a 30 that's 3-something, I mean, how is the difference in their payment for something like that? Because, I mean, you always hear it's better to pay it off quicker.
Right. It all comes down to the individual and the situation that they're in. It's always better to go a shorter term with a lower rate if you can afford it, but you can't put yourself in a position where you can't.
Right.
And a lot of times it can even, I think, depends on your option. If you're looking at doing that, what your age is, the affordability. I've seen individuals where they were older, it would put a strain on them to do 15 years, and they may not even expect to live the whole 15 years to enjoy having it paid off, and they're just developing equity for their family that's going to get the house. And I know most of us that are concerned about our parents would rather them to be comfortable and enjoy their later years, even if it was a 30-year mortgage. But if you can't afford a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30, and you can also look at 20 as an alternative as well, but if you can afford it, it's always better to go to a shorter term with a lesser rate. And I've seen some people actually do that, maybe not buy as much of a house when they're younger and get it paid down, sell it, and then buy a bigger house as their family grows and in the future, and be able to put it on a 15-year because it's affordable with the money they're putting down. I mean, it's all an individual situation, but if you can budget it, and you have to also, lenders just look at gross income and your debt and your credit, but we all know that we got to go to various places to get food, clothing, and everything else that comes involved. So you got to look at your budget and not look at exactly what you qualify for on paper with the lender. Make sure you can afford it and go that route.
Is it true that if somebody does a 30-year loan and pays an extra payment a year, it's the same as if they did a 15-year loan?
Not quite. I mean, if
Okay.
you're just doing a rough estimate, if you do a 30-year loan, make one extra payment a year, it calculates to knocking about 7 years off that mortgage. So it would make it more like 23 years if you only made the one payment extra per month.
So it saves, but it's not as good.
It's not as good as getting you down to 15, but you could look at making 2 payments a month and, 2 payments extra per year and getting closer to that 15 target.
So for somebody who's not sure of their finances, that might be, if you're disciplined, and that's the key, I guess. If you're disciplined, that's a good way to go, because you can bring that down much quicker and
still have
help
the
yourself.
safety of
if you
not
can't
having
do
the
it, or
larger
you lose
payment.
your job, or something happens, then you've got that breathing room, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right, you've got that lower payment to fall back on until you get back on your feet to where you can pay extra. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. The loan process, when somebody is applying for a loan, they found the house, they're applying for a loan, the process from meeting with you to closing, how long of a process is it for most people?
Again, it depends sometimes on the customer. If you will actually have all your stuff together that the loan officer tells you to bring, and you bring it to the office, and immediately once you have your contract, we've seen it be as quick as 2 weeks, but we'll tell people 2 to 4 weeks is a normal period to get a loan completely processed, underwritten, and then out the door. Different programs like rural development can take a little longer. It has an extra step where it has to get an approval from USDA. But normally you can expect, we'll tell people 2 to 4 weeks. 3 weeks is really a good target on FHA, conventional type loans. Rural development takes a little bit longer, usually, sometimes even it can take 4 to 5 weeks.
Right. Well, I know I have used Daryl a lot in working with clients. He's done a wonderful job. For a while there, I was sending you all my tough clients, because Daryl likes to go that extra mile. And
Thank you.
Well, no, actually, I don't know if you like to go the extra mile. You just would go the extra mile. And one thing I really appreciated about you, very specifically, was as a real estate agent, you would answer your phone on the weekends, and that was, boy, that's crucial, because that's when everybody comes out and looks at houses, is on the weekends. And the last thing you want to do when you got somebody there who's hot and wants a house, and well, you got to wait till Monday afternoon or something before I can get any answers to you, and you don't want them to cool off at that point. So you've been very good at answering questions, and I always give my clients, and not everybody does this, I give my clients your cell phone number, so you can't get away from them on the weekend. So if you don't mind, Daryl, would you tell them your phone number and your email and where you're located and how they can contact you, because I know there's going to be people out there, thinking about buying a house, and they don't know where to start the process. So how can they contact you?
Home Mortgage Solutions is located on 31 Mouse Creek Road, Cleveland, Tennessee. It's on the same, it's between a bakery and a flower shop, and it's right down the road from Jenkins before you dead into Ocoee. Our phone number is 423-339-8086. It's 423-339-8086. And like Doc mentioned, on our business cards, we do have not only our office address and phone number, but we also have our cell phone numbers. So we do welcome calls, whether it's on the weekend or at night, and if we can't answer it right then, we will call you back. And my cell phone number is 423-505-1376. And we also have other loan officers, and like you said, on weekends, we have, if we're in our home, we have our laptops, and we can pull credit and do that real quick and get the information and get approvals, so you can know quickly if you're pre-approved or not. And John Bischoff also works with us at Home Mortgage Solutions, Christy Bruce, and Ralph Fisher. So if you know them as well, they can look in as well as I can at any kind of refinancing or home purchase. The one thing, Doc, and I appreciate you saying what you did, that we do pride ourselves in, is we are one of the locally owned mortgage companies still left in Cleveland. and we're not owned by a parent company in Texas or somewhere else. We live here, and we value our customers because we are a part of the community. So our reputation in the community is very important to us. So we have to go that extra mile, and we try to be very transparent and let customers know. We don't tell you what you want to hear and tell you everything's great. If there's something that's an obstacle, we're going to let you know so that you're able to, hopefully we can meet whatever obstacles there may be for your financing and get you a loan. And another thing I've told you about recently is we have a program software, and it's really new, but we've used it 5 times with customers whose credit scores were just a little short of what they needed to qualify. And that software program can tell them what to do.
Right.
And it's worked so far each time we've done it and the customer, all 5 of those customers we've used it for, have done what we said, paid down some accounts or whatever to get them to where they would qualify and be able to buy a home.
Awesome. Great. Well, you heard it here. So if you're thinking about buying a house or wanting to find out if you qualify to buy a house, give Daryl and Home Mortgage Solutions a phone call. I have used him quite a bit. He does a wonderful job, and he's told me when my clients don't qualify, and I need to know that too. So definitely give him a call, check it out. He will tell you the truth, and that's what you need to know. You need someone who will be honest with you. So thanks for being with us, Daryl. And when we come back from the break, we will talk with Preston West and learn a little bit about computers and what's happening there. So appreciate you being here, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you looking for a way to save 50 to 90% off your children's spring or summer wardrobe? Well, this is the week. Check out the Ashley Lauren Consignment Event this week only, located at 4000 Keith Street next door to Chick-fil-A and Logan's. Ashley Lauren's Closet is the largest and premier children's consignment event. You don't want to miss it. 4000 Keith Street right here in Cleveland.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Alrighty, welcome back, and we are here with our final guest for today. This is Preston West of Keystone Solutions. He's here to talk to us about computers, and he does everything from giving you guidance and wisdom to repairing those that are sick, the computers that is, and working on those and giving advice and everything else. So Preston, we're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us.
I appreciate it.
And I was telling them in the opening of the show that I'm on a program called XP, which
Right.
is something that's going to die and go away, which makes me quite sad. And I said we would start the show kind of talking about that because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's on an XP program.
Sure.
And so if you will just kind of talk about XP and the death of XP, it sounds so
Sure.
morbid, where people could go that are on XP, some options for them.
Okay.
And even Regina was talking about,
The school
yeah,
system.
school systems or even
Right.
offices or businesses that are on XP, where do they go from here? What do
Okay.
we do?
Well, as you're aware, Windows XP is just a version of the Windows operating system. So
Okay.
we've got 7 and 8 that are out right now. 8's the newest one.
Okay.
That's kind of with all the touch screens and everything. What we found is that the majority of businesses especially have stuck with XP, and a lot of users too, home users have as well, because they're used to it, they don't like change, and it was widely the most widely used operating system for quite some time. Usually you can tell if it's XP if you look down on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. If it's got a green start button there, then you're looking at Windows XP.
Okay.
Microsoft has made a decision that after the beginning part of next year, they're discontinuing support for XP. And all that means is that they've decided that they're going to move forward and they're not going to continue to update, and they're not going to continue to support that product in any way, shape, or form. They're kind of archiving it.
So you could
if
still
will.
use it, but you would just,
That's right. It's not that the program will stop working
Okay.
on some kind of a D-Day.
Okay.
But it's just that the support for it goes away. And what we're going to see is hardware manufacturers and software vendors both will kind of follow suit, and they'll stop supporting XP as well.
Okay.
So people with older computers or businesses with older computers, you go get a new printer or you get a new piece of software, chances are after that date they won't work on XP computers, or if they may work, but if you have problems on an XP, it won't be covered under their support. And so we're trying to educate our customers about this this change that's coming, trying to help people move into it in a way that makes sense, especially from a budget standpoint, because you don't want to be stuck and have to replace all your computers at once.
Right.
It's a lot better if you can just step into it gradually.
So if you have XP on your computer, do you have to totally get rid of your computer, or can you wipe out what's on your computer and just install a different thing?
Yeah, there are some computers, the hardware itself of the computer, some of them are good candidates for upgrade.
Okay.
And that's one of the benefits our clients have, is we kind of do that process for them. And we give them a list of, okay, here's the computers that are eligible for upgrade. They might
Okay.
need a little bit of money, a little bit of extra hardware, but they would be good candidates.
Okay.
And then we can also kind of educate them. Sometimes it's just the money's better spent in newer hardware. I always use a car analogy. You can soup up a 88 Honda Civic, but it's never going to run as good as a 2002 Honda Civic, even if it's the same kind of brand and make and model.
Right.
It's just not going to run as well.
Okay. So besides the fact that we have XP and what's happening there, we know we have Windows 7 and we have Windows 8.
Sure.
And in the office, I've heard agents talk about Windows 8 is difficult to use. I don't know if it is.
Yeah.
Anything will be difficult for me to use because it'll be new.
Sure.
Is it difficult because it is new, or is it difficult because it's more touch screen? And I know people like keyboards, some people like touch screens. Where do you go?
The biggest difference between Windows 8 and everything previous is that Windows 8 is geared more towards a touch environment, and it's geared more towards kind of an app system, if you will, similar to what iPads do and phones do, where they build kind of native apps that are touch friendly, and it's built to use like that. However, the core of the operating system is is different, but it functions the same as old operating systems had before. There is a desktop that you can get to. You can still run most of the same Windows 7 programs on Windows 8.
Okay.
It's just a little bit of a difference in how to navigate, but once you get used to it, there's really not too much of a difference in the way that the actual computer functions. But they are a lot better for touch. Usually if people are interested in Windows 8, if it's a question between 7 and 8, if they've got touch hardware, so a computer, laptop, or tablet that has a touch screen,
Right.
Windows 8's a great choice, because if you're just checking your mail or surfing the web, it's really nice to have that interface and just be able to touch.
Right.
And Windows 7's not as friendly for touch, but if you really want kind of the old school computer, Windows 7 makes sense. And there are some businesses that have specific software that they use that doesn't run on Windows 8 yet. So that's something to consider for businesses especially, is, you know, look at your software, make sure it will run on Windows 8 before you just go out and do some kind of a mass upgrade.
Now, why would somebody, though, who has to upgrade or update, get a Windows 7 program? Because aren't you going to face the same issue that it's going to become obsolete before Windows 8 will?
You will at some point, but if you look at history as a good indicator, you know, operating systems usually run between a 5 and 6 year lifespan, generally.
Okay.
Windows XP sort of broke the norm because it came out in around 2001, and so it's really run a long time before it's been discontinued, and that has a lot to do with the kind of mediocre performance of Windows Vista. And a lot of people did not adopt Vista.
Right.
They kind of stuck with XP and through to 7. So Microsoft continued support a lot longer than they would have normally. Not to mention, you know, you talked about, you know, the operating system becoming obsolete. Realistically, you have a much better chance of your hardware becoming obsolete before the operating system does, because of the way that it changes and the frequency of those changes. So right now, especially for businesses and even some consumers, if you're looking at an upgrade, upgrading to 7 makes the most sense, because your hardware will run 7, more likely to run 7 than it will to run 8. For new computers, I don't know if you can get, just if you went out to buy computers, they're all going to come with 8.
That's what I was going to ask. Most new computers will come with 8.
If you say you went out to Best Buy or Staples or somewhere that just
So you couldn't buy a
sells them.
7 then?
You usually can't.
Okay.
If you go through some of the specific resellers or where you can configure your own computer, like Dell or HP, where you can actually kind of choose the pieces that you want, some of those will still allow you to get 7 if that's what you need.
Okay. So everybody that's in my shoes, for the most part, is going to go out and look for 8.
Yes, for the most part.
Just get a new computer.
That's what's going to be.
Well, I'm going to have to get a new
just
computer.
get a new computer.
That's what's going to be available when you go out looking, and so everything's going to have 8 on it.
Is there going to be a 9 coming?
Sure.
Like in the next few months or something?
No, the normal cycle, like I was saying before, is usually 4 to 5 years, sometimes 6 years. So I don't expect to see a major upgrade in operating system, probably till after 2015, somewhere in that range.
Wow. Okay, so I would be good for a while.
Yeah, you'd be okay.
So I could learn my 8, and when I get 8 learned, they're going to push me into 9s,
Right.
what you're telling me.
Yeah, probably so. Of course, they'll probably call it something completely different.
Yeah,
you know,
probably. It'll be a ZP or something else. You know,
something. Who knows? In 5 years, technology may have changed so much it won't matter.
I can probably voice command it and just not worry about any
Right.
of this stuff.
Or it'll be built into your wrist or something.
Something like that. All right, we need to take a commercial break, and once we do that, we will come back with Preston and ask him a few more questions. So we'll be back in just a few moments after the commercial break, and we'll pick his brain just a little bit more.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you looking for a way to save 50 to 90% off your children's spring or summer wardrobe? Well, this is the week. Check out the Ashley Lauren Consignment Event this week only, located at 4000 Keith Street next door to Chick-fil-A and Logan's. Ashley Lauren's Closet is the largest and premier children's consignment event. You don't want to miss it. 4000 Keith Street right here in Cleveland.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Welcome back, and we kind of want to wrap up our last session here by asking Preston a few more questions. And one of the things I was sharing with him is I know that he services computers. That's a lot of what his company does. And so I wanted to take this time to kind of focus on the fact that you can contract with him on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis or by hours. And so if you take a little bit of time and kind of explain to them
Sure.
how you can help them with their computer needs.
Sure thing. We really specialize in IT support for businesses.
Okay.
That's our niche. We do a lot of residential work as a result of that work.
Sure.
But most of our services are designed for businesses. The vast majority of our clients are set up on our IT Assurance membership.
Okay.
Is what we like to call it, and the basic gist of that is there's a set monthly cost based on the number of computers in your office or your business, and that covers everything related to IT for the business. So the computers themselves, usually the network connected devices like printers and scanners, anything you would expect an IT person that was on staff for you to handle is what we handle under that.
Okay.
So it's a really nice way to do it because it's a fixed cost for the business. They don't have to wonder how much is this service call going to cost me, or if they have to call for a question or a problem that's small. There's no bartering over time or money. It's just a fixed cost, so it's easy to budget. For us, it's a really good way for us to develop long-term relationships with our clients to help them through the technology maze as time progresses. And they know they have a partner who's taking care of the things on their computers that should be being done on an ongoing basis, like antivirus, scans and updating their backups, which is just very, very important for businesses. Being sure that those are being run and verifying those, keeping the computers clean and optimized is part of that. And then there's a set amount of time that we allocate for that business every month for things above and beyond maintenance items. So say they just need to add a computer or something gets infected or a printer breaks or just whatever they need in an IT environment is what that time would include. And so that's the way we run the vast majority of our clients. Some of our clients choose to call us when they need us, and that's fine too. We keep our rates pretty competitive, especially when you're talking about people coming in from Chattanooga or down from Knoxville. And we've got a really good team. I've got techs that work with us, and our office staff is really, really good. Our response times are excellent. Our resolution times are excellent. So, you know, I'm always surprised at how many people don't know we're here.
Right.
You don't have to go to Chattanooga to get somebody who can handle advanced networking and advanced business IT needs. You've got somebody right here in town that can handle anything, on up to about probably 60 to 100 computer network is about where we would probably stop.
Okay.
And need to either call in big gun support, or at that point the businesses would probably have their own IT staff at that point.
Okay. Well, we are about to conclude here, so tell them how to contact you, either phone number or email address, or however they can contact you if they have any questions or want to get in touch with you.
Definitely. There's a few ways you can contact us. You can go to our website. We've got all of our information there, especially about the IT Assurance membership. That website is itintennessee.com, itintennessee.com. You can call our office. The number is 423-464-6424. Jeannie will probably answer the phone. She'd be happy to help get whatever services you need squared away. You can feel free to email us at support@itintennessee.com. I think those are the best ways to contact us: web, email, phone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that about covers it.
All right, great. Well, I want to give a shout out to Preston. He takes care of the computers at the Keller Williams office, and I can vouch for the fact that he takes care of them on a monthly basis, and I can vouch for the fact that when things go crazy over in the office, we usually can call Preston and go, nothing's working, we've got a glitch, and he's usually there, I would say, within a half hour, if not sooner, and he's over there fixing it. We're up and running because he knows that he's got 30 people that are just dying because we can't do our work, and so he's very good about getting over there and taking care of the company. And you know, it's not just one computer, it's the office computers and agents with their computers, and he does an excellent job of taking care of us. So I can vouch for him and his ability to service you. So please give him a call, and I know he won't let you down. So I appreciate you being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Regina, thanks for being with us, and we'll be checking out the little alpacas next month. And I also want to remind you to check out that house in Bentley Park that we showed the pictures at the beginning of the show. And if you don't know it now, please remember this slogan: if you want opportunity to knock, you talk to Doc. Thank you for being with us, and we will see you next time. Y'all take care.